Morris, A1 CrossFit, West Bend, Wisconsin. Making this video today for my buddy, having a hard time with regular squats lately. He had an injury to his knee and he can't quite get the imbalances perfected where he needs to squat. So basically what I told him I would do is make a video on the box squat. In the box squat, we're trying to sit back onto the hips and hamstrings rather than squatting straight down and up, much like an elevator. So with this type of squat, what we're gonna need is a box, a rack, and a low bar, probably a low bar position, but I'm gonna talk about that in just a second. You're also gonna need a pair of flat shoes. And the reason you want a pair of flat shoes is that as we try to push the floor apart with a wider stance, if you have a shoe that's a little squishier, or if you have a shoe with an elevated heel, it's not gonna allow your hips and hamstrings to do the kind of work that they need to do, but rather you're gonna wanna end up driving your knees more forward than you really kind of should in a box squat. Because again, the box squat is not a competition lift, so we use it to train the hips, we use it to train the hamstrings, we use it to train that lower back in order to get those parts stronger, so when we get into our regular squat or work around an injury for a little while until we can figure out how to make that injury less of an injury, we need to make sure that we do it properly.
So as you can see here, I've got a high bar set up on the box. I sit back onto my hips. My shins are vertical and I'm pushing the floor apart with the outsides of my feet. My butt will reach towards the back by hinging at the hips. I'm not overextending in the lower back. It's just a neutral spine, meaning I'm bracing my trunk. I'm hinging back onto the box. As I sit back onto the box, my hamstrings are activated, my glutes are tight by pushing the floor apart already, my spine stays neutral, and again, that hip hinge is going to be the main factor and the main difference of a box squat versus a regular squat. As you can see here, my knees will only bend about 90 degrees depending on how low the box is. In this case, this box is an above parallel squat, so my hips stay a little bit higher than my knees. My shins are completely vertical. My hips reach back. My torso leans a little bit forward to maintain balance. And I sit using my hamstrings, my glutes, and my lower back. The quads will be activated due to the fact that we need full muscle activation in order to lower ourselves to the box. You can see here the foot stance is going to be extremely wide out to the rack. Toes are pointed mostly forward, meaning we create good torque, good tension before we even start the descent to the squat. Some common mistakes are close stance, bouncing off the box, lowering rapidly to touch the box and come back up as if not engaging the glutes and the hamstrings properly. Even a wide stance version of that squat can throw off some major intricacies that the box squat needs. Another mistake is leaning back and rocking off the box, so using the barbell and momentum to come off the box, and then shifting the feet for a constant time at the bottom of the box. Variations of the box squat could be a low box, where you see I'll have a little bit more hip hinge. It's really good to stretch the hips to work on some depth, and if you struggle lowering yourself into a squat, I suggest these ones. The difference between a high bar and a low bar is going to be that the high bar squat is going to sit somewhere up on top of the traps, just on the lower neck, not on the vertebrae, and the low bar squat is going to sit on the rear delts across the scapula, across the shoulder blades, which is going to pitch the body forward slightly into a good box squat position.